For this recording, we are going to talk about the newest enhancements that were added to PinPoint version 4.30. The first thing that you're going to notice is the look of PinPoint has changed. Not drastically, but we've just changed the color scheme. We've updated some screens to add more space for the critical things. And most importantly, we've added some new buttons that will help you navigate within PinPoint as well. First thing we're going to talk about is what we're looking at currently, and that is the new dashboard. As a user, you have the option of two different dashboards. This one is called the Express dashboard, and you see 5 different columns with several different pages listed underneath them, which are just shortcuts to those pages. All of these pages can be found throughout the menu, as that hasn't changed, but you now have a quick shortcut to just about every screen you're going to need as a day-to-day user. If you still prefer the classic dashboard, you can still use that instead of the Express dashboard by clicking this button here that says Classic. Though it has changed a little bit, it still has the same information that that classic dashboard had before. Instead, though, of listing all 3 sections and you have to scroll down, we've just separated them into 4 buttons. The first one being your recent document list, and that still will contain the last 30 days of documents that you have added or updated in PinPoint. Next to that, you have the checked out document list, which I currently have 1 document checked out, so it's where I can check my documents back in. Document workflows, a list of current workflows I have assigned to documents that I have to complete. And then if I'm assigned any workflows for non-documents, I have that listed here too as well. So I have 4 different sections: my non-document workflows, my document workflows, my checked out documents, and my recent documents. So again, the same information you had in the old classic dashboard, we've just now separated them into sections there at the top. If you prefer the Express dashboard, you can simply click the Express button to go back. Whichever you last had, that's what will save the next time you log in. Also, if you see above the menu this arrow button, that is always going to be visible no matter what page you're on in PinPoint, and that is a quick way to minimize the menu, giving you more space on the screen. So if I click this button, I now have more space. Obviously, with the Express dashboard, really no need to do that. But when you're viewing a document, perhaps, or going into a search screen, you can minimize the menu to give yourself more space. And to bring it back, you simply click this button in the top left, and the menu reappears. A couple other things to mention. If I go into the content search page, for example, you'll notice there is an arrow up here above the search fields. And that's just a quick way to minimize the search fields if you only want to have the document list appear. So if I simply click this button, I now minimize those search fields, click the arrow again to bring them back. So essentially within my search here, if I've already conducted a search, I could minimize this and even minimize the menu to get an even larger view. So simply bring those back by clicking those buttons again. Also, if you like the gallery view, so I'm going to click gallery here. That's also found on the Express dashboard. But here, if I go into a particular cabinet and then folder here, apologize for the way some of those are labeled. This is a demo file of ours. But in this case, I go under this folder and view the documents. Still have the ability to have the thumbnail view, or you can switch it here to a list view. So that hasn't changed. But you'll notice there's an arrow here, and that's just to minimize the search fields at the top. So again, I could even make it larger now and get that larger view of a document right over here by simply minimizing certain sections. And to get that back, you simply click this arrow, bring your search fields back, click this to get your menu back. Other than that arrow, the big difference on this particular search, other than the color scheme being different, we've enlarged the document view over here. So if you were a user that typically used this page, you probably noticed that the document view over here wasn't fairly large. So you probably often were opening that document in a separate tab. So now you get just about as large a view as you do on the file review page right here on the gallery view. So you can simply view your documents here without opening separate tabs. I am going to go back to the dashboard for a moment. So for example, if I'm on my dashboard, and let's say it's the classic dashboard for this example, you're going to notice, of course, as you always did, the doc name listed and the doc ID. And this goes for all the locating pages, all the pages in PinPoint where you see documents listed. You'll have a doc ID and a name side by side. Before, no matter which one you clicked, whether it was the ID or the name, that document would open in a separate tab. So for example, if I click email test, the name, it's going to open that file in a separate tab. And I'll just close that. If before I had clicked the doc ID, the same thing would happen. The file would open in a separate tab for me. Though now, anywhere you see the doc ID, that brings up a quick view of the document. So I don't have to go into a separate tab. I can view the document here. I can also change the doc type. I can enter any metadata that's missing, and I can also complete my workflow task within the doc view or within the doc quick view as well. So you do have the ability to bring up a quick view of a document anytime by clicking the doc ID. The next thing we're going to talk about is very simple to discuss. It has to do with adding new cabinets and adding new document types. So if you're a user that has done that in the past, you'll see that this is a minor change just to make it easier for you. So for example, I'm going to go into admin, and you'll notice too, there's now an admin dashboard, very similar to the Express dashboard for users, a quick shortcut to the main pages that you're going to use as an administrator. Again, same thing here. All of these pages are found throughout the menu here as well. First, I'm going to click cabinets, and you'll notice a little different look here as far as all the actions that you need for the cabinet are found here under the column. If you need to add a new one, you simply click the Add Cabinet button here. And if you need to edit one, you can click the cabinet name. For example, if I click admins, it's going to open up the settings for that. And you can see I could edit this. I could put like admin name is what it should have been. But in any case, you'll notice that these buttons now indicate the field type you want to add. So for this example, I'm actually going to close, or I'll save my existing cabinet here. Oh, I'm sorry, someone has this as disabled. But in any case, I want to add a new cabinet. So I'm going to click Add Cabinet, and I'm going to type in just new cabinet, I'll call it. The new thing here is before you would just have a field already displayed and you would start entering the information. Now you have these buttons to indicate the field type you want to add. So if I click the text field, it's going to already add a field, has the information filled out. I can certainly change that. And then here I would just enter what I want that header to be. So we've just added simple buttons for adding your folder fields. The same can be said when adding metadata fields to your doc types. So for that, I'm going to close this. I'm not actually going to save. And I'm going to go to doc types here under the menu. That's all. This is also one of the pages found on the Express dashboard. So you could always, the admin dashboard. So I could always go back to admin dashboard and get to doc types that way. Or again, it's always here under the menu as well. So here's my list of doc types. Looks very similar to the cabinet list. All the actions you need for the doc type are here. If you need to edit a doc type, you click the name. Otherwise, if you're adding a new one, you click this button here. Same thing. If this is my doc type called invoice, same thing. If I want to add a text field, click that button and I can say invoice number is the name of the field. I can always adjust any of the settings. Maybe I also want to add a date field. So I add a date type field and I say invoice date. So we just made it a little quicker and a little more simple for you to add new fields, as opposed to having to fill out each field from scratch. The next thing I'm going to talk about is a new function called document polling. For that, what we're going to do is go back to user mode, and we're going to go to the content search page. So if Express dashboard is the one I have, I can always get there under the locating column. I can always use the search button below the menu, or I can go under locating content search to get there. From here, if I want to create a document poll and assign it to users for them to vote, I can do so here. So I'll use just this document as an example. And I go into the FX button next to it, and I look for document poll. From here, I then can either choose a full group of users to assign the poll to, or I can just pick on individuals. For this one, I'm just going to pick on Johnny Smith. That's the person I'm logged in as. That's who I want to assign it to. So essentially, I'm assigning it to myself. The next thing I do is enter my question or topic. And just for example's sake, I've been kind of sticking to the same kind of theme here. I'll say the question or topic is, do you approve this document? So that is my question or topic. You are required to enter option 1 and option 2. So I could simply do like yes or no. Oops. Yes or no as the 2 options for voting. You do have 3 additional options if you want to include those. Maybe I want to add one that says no, signature missing, no data missing, something that tells them what they're missing instead of simply saying no. So you've now got 4 options you're giving Johnny Smith to vote. And again, I can add additional people that will also get assigned that particular poll. And then the last thing to do before I submit is choose the vote limit. You can either say they only get 1 vote limit or they have no vote limit. In this case, I'm saying that those 3 can only vote once for this document poll. Then I hit submit, and those 3 people are going to get notified up here in the top right that they have a new poll. So I refresh my page and I now have 2 polls that I have to vote on now. So I could either go through this to get there, or I could go through locating my polls and view those. So you'll see I've got a few particular polls that have been assigned to me. The poll topic is simply done by clicking this button. That's only going to be available to you if you're the creator. So here I'm the creator of all 3 of these. So I can click on this if I need to, maybe I need to assign it to somebody else, or I need to fix the topic question. I can do so by clicking on this and edit the poll topic if I need to, and even the options and anything that I did before, and then just submit that. So if I'm the creator, I can click the poll topic and edit the poll if I need to. If I'm not the creator and it's just showing as an assignment for me, I simply don't have a link to click here. It'll look the same, but I don't have this to click. All I can do is click this button to submit my vote. So now if my vote is no, it's missing signature. So I would place my vote. And then of course, the person that sent it, me, being Johnny Smith, can go in and view the people's or the user's votes. And you'll see now that one also says here that there's 1 vote for that one. The other 2 people that I assigned it to are still missing their votes, so I would see those as well when they place them. So essentially, I can go to the content search page and create a document poll, assign it to users, then I can come to my poll requests and view their votes. Also, this is where I come if polls are assigned to me. So not only do I see the polls I've assigned to other people, I see the polls that have been assigned to me as well. And you'll always see the creator over here on the right. Now, a couple other things to talk about. If you're using variable naming, we've added a new feature for the separator. Before, you could either have spaces or underscores in between the different fields you select for your variable name. Now, if you go to admin, file room, variable naming, you have a new separator field. So I've got all my existing ones here. I'm going to create a new one. So if I click add variable name, you'll notice there's a new field down here that says separator. So if I said I want the cabinet to be the first part of the name, I then want it to be the folder followed by the date, let's say. So I've said the order that I want those fields, 1, 2, 3, and instead of them being separated by a space in the doc name, I want them separated by an underscore or a dash. So in this case, I'll say dashes. And then I simply save that. Oh, I apologize. I have to new VN, I'll call it. I have to enter the name for it, and then I simply hit save. Oh, I apologize. It says that one already exists. So I'll call that new VN2 is the name of it, and I save. So if I look for that one now, new VN2, you'll see there's the order. It's going to go cabinet, folder, date, and instead of being separated by spaces, it will be separated by dashes. looking through my list, if you use the file multiple page, so if I go back to user mode and I go either filing multiple, which is the way you've always been able to get there, the new way and quicker way is just go right here from your dashboard, or I should say your Express dashboard, click multiple under filing. This hasn't changed as far as how to use this page. So you simply start by saying, I want to file it to this cabinet. Then you go to folder, then subdivider. So that's now where it's going to be filed. And then what it is. So I'll just say it's a correspondence document. So I've now filled out the 5 requirements. I apologize, 4 requirements: cabinet, folder, subdivider, and doc type. Those are the 4 required fields. If any of those are missing when you drag it in, the system will tell you to fill that out. So now that I have that filled out, I can simply drag in my documents. So I'm going to drag in some documents. Apologize. I'll just drag this one in here and let go. So and I could have dragged in 50 documents of any file type. But the new feature is when you drag it in, you'll see it lists where that document is being filed prior to you hitting import. So if I hit import now, that document's going to get filed away according to this path. So the reason we do that now is because maybe you have other documents that you want to add to this folder before hitting import, but maybe they're different doc types. Maybe they're going into different subdivider. So in this case, I'm going to keep the cabinet and folder the same. I'm going to change this to the filing subdivider. And I'll just pick a different doc type. I'll say it's an agenda. Then I simply drag in a new document, and you'll see that one has now changed the path. So as you know, when you use this page, when you drag documents in, it's going to get filed according to those 4 fields that you filled out. This new feature tells you where it's going, so you can confirm if you need to before hitting import. So that's the new feature here. It will list the file path of where that document is being filed. If you check out documents in PinPoint, you can still go into any search page, find that document, and check it in that way. You can also go to your classic dashboard under checked out documents and check it in through FX here. A new feature that we've added to Smart Scan allows you to check in documents that way as well. So if I go to Filing, Smart Scan, and I check this bubble, check in, then drag in a document I want to check back in, the system will automatically do that for me. The only thing you have to make sure of is that the doc name of the file you're dragging in has the doc ID at the end. So for example, if I go to dashboard and I have this document, if I check this out, it's going to be called vendor invoice underscore. That's going to be the file name. As long as after that underscore it has 19109, which when you check a document out, it automatically puts that there for you. So as long as you don't change the name when you check it back in and it has that doc ID at the end, the system will be able to check it back in for you. So again, when you check a document out, the system automatically places an underscore at the end of the file name followed by that document's ID number in PinPoint. So if you drag the document into filing Smart Scan with this checked, and that doc ID is at the end of the doc name, that's how the system knows where to check it back into. If that doesn't match an existing doc ID or that doc ID is already checked back in, the document would just fail in that case. The last thing we're going to talk about is the ability to create HTML forms. So under admin, if I go to file room, HTML forms, there's also a quick shortcut here under document management on your admin dashboard. So you see I've created a few forms as an example, but let's add a new one. So if I click add form, I simply enter the information. I enter a name for the form. I also say where the forms that get submitted are going to be filed in PinPoint and what document type they are. And then of course I can enter an HTML code in here if I already have a form I want to paste here, or I can use the tools up here to create a custom HTML form. So you can either paste an HTML code into this box, and save your HTML form that way, or you can use the tools here to create one from scratch. But once you save it, it's ready to be sent. So I've already got a couple forms I've created. So using the action buttons, you have a couple different options. Either send a static HTML form or a custom HTML form. It's going to send the same form no matter what. The difference is the end result, where it gets submitted into PinPoint after it's submitted by the person. If you send a static form to someone, you just simply enter the emails of the people you want to send that to. When they submit it, it will automatically file according to the cabinet, folder, subdivider, and doc type you selected when you created that form. So again, if I click on this form to view it, if someone submits this form, it's always going to go in as this doc type to this cabinet, folder, and subdivider. So it's always going to go to that location when submitted if you send it as a static form. Static meaning it's always going to get submitted to that same location. The only difference then if you click custom, oh, one other thing, by the way, if you click send static, instead of emailing it to some others, you could just copy this link to the form and paste that in your website, paste that into a document, and that's always a link to the HTML form. So you could do it either way. The custom form button, the second button here, is going to still send the exact same form, though you get to decide a different location for it. Maybe you want it to go in as a different document type than the static form sends it to. Or, again, maybe it's just a different folder it goes to. So this is one where instead of it going to that same location every time, you're going to send this HTML form and have it submitted to a custom location that you're going to fill out here. And then the last thing to mention here is the ability to have even non-PinPoint users, of course, because you can send an HTML form to anybody. It doesn't have to be a PinPoint user. You can also have it so that when they are to fill out that form, that they have to upload certain files with that form. So it is the ability for users, not only to, I should say for non-users, to fill out an HTML form that you've sent them, but they can also use it to upload files to your file room without having to be a user at all. So this is a function for that as well. So in this case, if I click upload file, you'll see I've already added one to this. It says new form upload, it's required. And there's a little tooltip that says upload new doc here. So when they fill out the form, there's going to be a little box, required box in this case, that says they have to upload whatever the name is that I put here. So that could be, resume, ID ID card, anything that you want submitted to them, you add it as a file that needs to be uploaded with that form. So again, when they submit that form, they are going to also be required, oh, I apologize for this one, for this March form too, they're also required to submit this form that I've named new form upload. But again, you get to name that. Maybe I say they also have to submit, this is for March form too, I'll say ID card, and that's required. And I'll say, please submit current ID, and then I save that. So now they have to not only submit this new form file, they also have to submit their ID card with it as well. So you're saying with that HTML form submission, they are required to also upload these two different files. That, and just thinking about what else was added, that's all the functions on our list. Just double checking. As far as new training material, all the new functionality can be found under Help Manual. Though if you go back to Help and go to Self-Paced Training, we will have short videos for 4.30 coming very soon. And that's what that's stating right there. So we'll have some short videos for all the different functions in PinPoint, including everything that we've talked about today. Let me know if you have any questions.